Well, how you doing, everybody? Good to see you again. This is Reverend Jess Foglesong from touchedbygodchurch.com online, as well as Touched by God Church World Ministries on Facebook. So stop by when you can. And our lesson today is called Wisdom and the Miraculous Making of a Human Being. All right, let's get started here. Proverbs 8, verses 22 to 31. Wisdom. The Lord created me, the beginning of his works, before all else that he made long ago. Alone I was fashioned in times long past, at the beginning, long before earth itself. When there was yet no ocean, I was born, no springs brimming with water. Before the mountains were settled in their place, long before the hills, I was born. When as yet he had made neither land, nor lake, nor the first cloud of earth. When he set the heavens in place, I was there. When he girdled the ocean with the horizon, when he fixed the canopy of clouds overhead and set the springs of ocean firm in their place, when he prescribed its limits for the sea and knit together earth's foundations. Then I was at his side each day, his darling and delight, playing in his presence continually, playing on the earth, when he had finished it, while my delight was in mankind. So wisdom is the formation that God has placed in the creation, in the creation process. The universe, the entire universe, was the size of the pupil of your eye. All of the information needed to form the vast cosmic stellar universe was confined within that tiny ball of energy. God's wisdom was present there with all the information needed to form life. Then God gave the word, and boom, it exploded systematically into the dynamic universe that we see today, including the earth, the sun, you, and all you feel and see around you. Wisdom is the essence of all creation. It is hidden in the tiniest, the smallest of God's kingdom, within the atom and its quantum world that whirls and permeates around us, ubiquitously within all life itself. So wisdom and the mankind and the making of a human being. At birth, a female has 2 million pre-eggs that lie dormant in her ovarian wings. All of the information needed to form a human being is there, guaranteed by God's wisdom. Just as he was there, lying dormant before the bang that formed the universe, the beginning of the universe. So information in forming a human being in the same manner waits for that moment, then on cue implement its process of making a baby. 2 million eggs. Surprisingly, many are not viable, and by puberty only about 400,000 remain. At each ovulation, many eggs rupture, and only one egg matures. Because of the disintegration of the egg supply, by the time a woman reaches her 50s, not enough are available to keep up with her monthly cycle. At ovulation, a follicle in the wall of one of the two ovaries bursts open and a mature egg is released. The previously dormant egg divides, yielding two cells, each having 23 pairs of chromosomes. But here's the kicker. Only one cell will go on to be a baby. The other cell will starve and disintegrate, and if the egg is fertilized, the excess supply of intracellular material will benefit in the process of formation of the embryo and fetus in development. In the information of the universe after the original Big Bang, as the mass of energy expanded, like the bursting of ovulating eggs, stars are similarly formed out of nebula clouds that spread throughout the growing universe. Many, like the eggs, do not survive, and after bursting out of the clouds, disintegrate as stardust, which adds to the overall formation and proliferation of planets and life itself. Wisdom has programmed the making of stars, and in the same manner, the making of a human being. The human egg is now swept into the woman's fallopian tube and will be available for fertilization by a male sperm for only 10 to 15 hours. Then it will not accept any sperm, and will itself disintegrate as part of the monthly cycle. The male sperm, a wonder within itself, after being ejaculated into the woman's uterus, has only 48 hours before it too is not viable. So it immediately, with its whipping tail action, knows the correct fallopian tube to enter and swim against all odds toward the developing egg. Appropriately, 300 million sperm enter the vagina and they die in droves as they, like eager salmon fighting the currents going up a river, traverse the chemically hostile environment of the fallopian tube. By the time they reach the target, only a few hundred remain. Wisdom allows only one sperm to enter the egg wall. And even after that single head of the sperm is within the outer shell of the egg, sits there and waits. It is not allowed to enter the egg wall until a special chemical key, a specially shaped protein on the sperm's head matches the chemical lock that assures no other species has invaded the sanctuary of a human being. No foreigners are allowed. Only if there is a match will the doors open to begin the process of fertilization and a new potential life to go forward. The doors close so all other sperm trying to force their way in. Wisdom allows only one, illustrating the Christ Jesus, to enter into the sanctity of God's creative realm. Oneness illustrates that there is only one God as well as one Christ, and they both equal one. It is a ballet of blending both sperm and egg together and joining their respective chromosomes, instigating the process of building a human being. All right, let's continue on here. First of all, through the next few weeks, with the formation of an embryo by the time the egg reaches the uterus. It's day 4. The minuscule embryo now takes shape through distinct steps in development, all following the directions placed within its DNA and molecular blueprint by the wisdom of the Creator. The cluster of eggs called the morula has transformed itself from a ball over 60 cells into a sphere-shaped ball with fluid and called a blastocyst, and it is ready to attach itself to the wall of the uterus, where it will mesh with the mother's arterial system to form a placenta. This wall of separation is essential for the developing embryo, as it is an entity foreign or hostile to the mother's immune system, and would seek to destroy it if not for the immediatory function of the placenta. All right, let's continue on. This transitional organ is a divine illustration of the mediatory work of the Christ Jesus. Without his sacrifice as the mediator for all of humankind, God, like the mother's immune system, would destroy a tainted human race. But because of God's grace, he came to earth as the Redeemer, the mediator, and salvaged the entire human race. So, let's take a look at the placenta. The placenta is an amazing organ. It is a product of both the fetus and the mother, and has a heck of a task of isolating the fetus from the mother. Very cleverly, wisdom has allowed it to protect the intruder, the fetus, to perform its minute-by-minute, day-to-day regulatory processes such as the transfer of nutrients and oxygen, while expelling fetal waste out to the mother's circulatory system, and so much more. As was the Christ, after being born as a human child, was a product of the Father and the human race, and in turn was able to be a barrier between the pure righteousness of God's light and humankind. He became our Redeemer, our representative, our mediator, even our placenta. And as the days go by into the second week, the intricate ballet of forming the fetus go full speed ahead. By the third week, structures that will be the heart and nervous system emerge. Then the heart starts beating. By week 5, the key organs are in place: liver, pancreas, thyroid. The eyes dot the side of the head. It is still in the embryo stage, quite tiny, about the size of about the size, I would say, of your fingernail, maybe the tips of your fingernail, I would say. And so at the 6th week, it has developed exponentially. The eyes are clearly visible. The brain begins to enlarge. It will continue to grow even after birth to approximately age 25. All right. Arms and legs are visible, although sporting web-like hands, and feet like ducks. Later, as programmed by wisdom, will lose this aberration, favoring normal human appendages. Actually, at this stage, the embryo looks more like a fish than a human being. the eyes on the side of the head and web-like appendages and so forth. A reminder that all of life emerged out of water, out of the sea. The earth was inundated with water during its formation, signaling the beginning of the formation of living one-cell life. And at the beginning of life, building progression. Birth is the culmination of wisdom's finest work. At the end of 9 months of fetal development, it is near time for the birth process to start. The fetal placenta, sensing that the time for birthing has arrived, stops producing a hormone that for 9 months kept the uterine muscles relaxed. In the absence of this chemical inhibition, they begin the contractions of labor. As we mentioned before, that the fetal placenta is, in the larger view, an illustration of humanity's own symbolic placenta, Jesus the Christ, our wall between God and us. We wonder when the final days will arrive before his second coming. The Bible states that there will be signs, and then the birth pangs will begin. The birth pangs will start. The contractions will begin for a new birth into the kingdom of heaven. As the actual birth begins, the umbilical arteries, the cord, for 9 long months, the fetal lifeline clamps shut, while the umbilical vein amazingly waits to shut just long enough for the fetal blood that happened to be in the placenta at this moment to be returned to the fetus. All of this happens in an instant. Again, God's wisdom had programmed this at the beginning, all part of the instructions given by the word of the Creator. When the Christ arrives, it will be in an instant. The blood that was in the placenta is an illustration of the Christ that returns to the body of believers. Then, and only then, all believers will be taken or whisked out into his waiting arms, into his waiting hands, as a doctor waits to cradle the newborn into a new realm. For the fetus, a new life has, as a human baby, for the faithful human being, a new life as well as a member of God's heavenly kingdom. Several things have just happened just before the baby is born. And if it doesn't take place, the infant is in peril. Blood flow is rerouted to pass through the vessels of the lungs and intestines as the lungs prepare to breathe air and the stomach prepares to digest food. Hopefully, the well-balanced nutrients of mother's milk. A hole between the two sides of the heart that allow the fetal flow pattern closes as the direction of the flow of blood through the heart reverses. It simply reverses. This is our metamorphosis. This is our metamorphosis. We've changed from a fish-like organism immersed in a sack full of liquid with eyes on the side of our heads and snout-like nose with web hands and feet, a one-chambered heart, and become a full-fledged human being in just 9 months. Have you ever observed a butterfly transform from one stage to another through its metamorphosis? Have you? It is amazing. And in the same manner, mankind will go through a metamorphosis as we are transformed from a mere physical human to a divine spiritual child of God. We will be reborn into his realm, equal with angels. And in the same manner, mankind will go through a metamorphosis, as I mentioned, equal with angels. It was all programmed into one cell just 9 months earlier. Such an expression of eloquence commanded from a single molecule. In life, oneness is what we represent. At the onset of fertilization, within a single cell contained all the potential that you were ever physically to become. Within every cell of your body retains that wisdom. With precision, a newborn, a human being, has been created and slips through the narrow canal into the bright light of a new world. The fetus becomes a baby born of a man and a woman. As human beings, we will be born again. We too will slip through the gossamer tunnel of cheering angels, welcoming us home to a stairway to heaven, to meet our leader, our friend, our Redeemer. The promise that God had made with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, and all that believe in him will have been fulfilled. Amazing, amazing, amazing. The placenta, Jesus the Christ. Think about that next time you witness a baby being born. And think about that when we think of abortion as well, to wisp or to take a developing baby out of its womb. It's in a developing stage. God is there at every minute of time. Wisdom is there. An angel is there as well. So we'll stop there, and we'll continue again with another lesson. This is Reverend Jess Foglesong from Touched by God Church. God's blessing to you today.